I am John Anderstrom, Staff Sergeant John Anderstrom, and I'm in the Army Reserve. I've been in the Army for 8 years tomorrow. My job in the Army is civil affairs. So what we do is we're put on 4-man teams, and we go to war-torn countries, and we rebuild them from the ground up. I think it's the best job in the military because we see the direct effect that we have on the populace, and we're able to impact such a large group of people in a positive way, and it really endears us to people. This patch is really unique because anywhere in the world where there are American troops operating, you're going to find this patch. It symbolizes reconstruction efforts and rebuilding of a society that's been destroyed by war. And people both love and hate the patch. And what I mean by that is that the people that we're helping love the patch, but the insurgents, the bad guys, hate it because with each dollar that we spend on reconstruction, we are taking away their support and their mission at trying to destroy the country that we're trying to help.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
I was shot at a lot. I had RPGs flying past my head. I was nearly hit by a mortar while I was working on my vehicle. It destroyed the back half of my vehicle, and I was in the front, completely uninjured. This razor-sharp piece of shrapnel, I was able to pull it with using the jaws of life from the back of my vehicle. And I keep it now on my bookshelf in my room. It's just a reminder of God's protection in my life. And how I know that, just as the Bible says, that He has a plan for me. It's not to harm me, that He has a plan for me. And I know it's true because I'm still alive, I'm still breathing every day. And I use that as a reminder for that.
Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine till all success be nobleness and every gain divine.
There were 3 insurgents, and they had moved into this residential home, and they kicked out the residents. And this is where they were going to make their final stand. And we got there, and we sent in the Iraqi police first, let them lead and take control of their own government. It's the rule. We sent them in first, and they took casualties. None of them died, but they got hit with rounds. The American soldiers went in next, and Michael Clark was killed that day. He was the first one in, shot, killed instantly. I took it a lot harder than I thought I would. And I remember going back to my room on base that day, and I was alone, and it was dark, and not knowing, I guess not knowing what my next step should be. Thankfully, I serve a God who answers prayers before I even ask my prayers. That day I got a package, and it was from somebody at GCC, and I opened it up, and in it was a DVD sermon message, and it was Rob Wagner preaching that Sunday, and he was talking about the fear of failure, and how even if you feel like a failure, you're not in God's eyes. And I watched that sermon and the special music straight through the first time, and I just wept and wept and wept. And I watched it again and again and again. And just like the Bible says, that God, before we ask, God is already answering our prayers. While we're still speaking, He's hearing it. In that whole situation that happened that day, God knew I was going to experience that. And He was right there with me. And He had prepared in advance, thousands and thousands of miles away, for somebody to send me the exact message that I needed. Throughout all of my career in the military, I guess what I've realized is that God He's always present. And the church is universal. And I serve a God that is with me in a foxhole in Iraq, or with me in a chair in the middle of a service in GCC.
Oh, beautiful for a patriot dream that sees beyond the